I forgot there's something I wanted to do. But okay.
That's okay. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Yeah, Chris, if you need to step out for a second, it's fine. Just
No,
while I
I'm good.
just give the intro. Okay.
I'm good. I did that before.
All right. Hey, everybody. Joining me today is Khris Ramirez, aka Khrisamisu. I want to ask you about that name too later. I don't know if there's too much of a story behind it, but it's an interesting name. But welcome to another Builder interview, everyone. Been trying to do these about once a week or so. I didn't do one last week though, but joining me here today is Khris. I'm excited to talk to Khris. I've been following Chris's work probably for about as long as maybe some of you guys have if you're familiar with his work, because some of his first work was very viral. A lot of people saw it. We'll talk about that. Definitely his Pokemon builds. Yes. But yeah, I really like his work, and I've been a fan, been following his work, and he's entered in at least one of my contests, right? Have you entered in other ones as well too? I don't remember.
One so far. I plan to enter the Zaku contest as well, but I didn't finish my entry on time. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
That happens, yes. But he did place second in the Kotobukiya contest with his Armor Core kit, which was really fantastic as well too. So guys, join me in welcoming Khris. Khris, you want to introduce yourself? Who are you? Where are you from?
My name is Khris Ramirez. I'm known as Khris. I go by Khrisamisu. I'm a Filipino modeler based in Portland, Oregon. And
yeah. That's good enough to get us started. So were you born in the Philippines, or you moved there later?
I was born in the Philippines. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly when we moved. I think it was like when I was 8 years old we moved to the US. I was here most of my life in the US. So yeah.
You still go back every now and then to visit family and stuff?
I went back a couple times. The last time I went back was actually earlier this year, in February, March. And yeah,
got back to the States just in time.
Before, the whole virus thing started. Yeah, we got out just in time too, because right after we left, there was a lockdown. So we would have been stuck there for a long time if we had left like a week earlier. So yeah, we got lucky there.
Yeah.
It was a culture shock, because the last time I was there was probably like it was over 10 years ago. The last time that I was there, really? So a lot of things had changed. I felt like I was going to like a whole different country. Like even though I was born there, yeah, I'm so used to being in the States. But yeah, it was eye-opening.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So there, like in the area where you're living in Portland now, is there a lot of like, is there any amount of like Filipino population? Is there like a Filipino community there at all, or no?
I would say there's a Filipino community here. I think anywhere you go, like if it's like a work, you run into like a Filipino somewhere, you're like automatically best friends. And like where I work, like all the Filipinos know each other, like they're really close. So that's nice. Yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. Yes. So let's talk about your work. And I always like to just start off by just kind of getting everyone's backstory as to how they got started into Gunpla. So what initially got you into models, or did it start with other different kinds of models first and then went into Gunpla, or what's your story?
No, it wasn't through Gunpla at first. My first experience with Gundam was actually it was an action figure. I think it was a mobile suit in action, Death Scythe, that my cousin had. It was the Endless Waltz Death Scythe, the one with the bat wings. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was just like a Batman mech thing. And I thought it was really cool. And I actually ended up buying it off him with like a Ziploc bag full of quarters. So that was my first encounter with Gundam. So that Scythe is still one of my special Gundams.
About how long ago was that? Do you remember how old you were?
No, that was before I even spoke English. I think I was 10 years old at the time. But yeah, so I bought that, and I think I watched some Gundam Wing in Cartoon Network for a little bit, but I didn't really get into it that much. Gundam Wing and G Gundam. And then it wasn't until high school where I really got back into it. I always liked Gundam. I never watched the shows, but I like the giant robots, you know.
Mhm.
And I was pretty into papercraft models
Oh,
during middle school, high school,
papercraft.
and yeah, papercrafts.
Yeah, yeah.
And one of the first papercraft models that I did was a SD Musha Gundam.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let
You have
me
a photo
just
you gonna show us here?
yeah. It's not my
Yeah,
build because I got rid of my DeviantArt account a long time ago,
oh.
but
Oops.
it was this one.
Okay.
Can you see it? Fine.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, the SD Musha Gundam,
Mhm.
and I
That's
also
not yours, it's someone else's, but you made the same one.
yes, yeah, and then
Mhm.
also the
That
RX
I've
here.
seen a bunch of those, especially like here in Korea. They're kind of famous. Like I don't know why, it's really strange, but in like glasses shops here, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of glasses shops, they have like either some like big Gundam model that have like a mega size, or it's like some big papercraft Gunpla that a Gundam that someone made. It's very strange, but I've seen a
Yeah,
bunch of them, but they look like what's the process like making those? Seems like it would take forever.
so usually it's just someone just like models it in 3D, like in Blender. That's the
Uh-huh.
program that I hear a lot about. I never
Mhm.
designed my own. I would just print templates and print them out myself. But yeah, they would make 3D models and then they would use a this software called Papakura, and they would
Mhm.
unfold it and
Mhm.
basically make it like 2D
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
can print and then refold yourself into 3D
Mhm.
like on paper.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
makes sense.
It's a
So
really
this is
good.
the one that you made?
Yeah, this one was mine. Yeah, this is one of the
Mm,
later ones that I made.
mhm,
It was really accessible hobby back then because it's all you needed was cardstock and printer ink, so it's pretty
mm,
accessible, you know.
mm.
Yeah, my very first one was that SD Musha Gundam.
Is this something that you're still doing at all these days?
No, it's something I want to revisit. It
Mhm.
looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I haven't done one in a while. Um,
Mm.
but anyway,
So
going
how did
back,
you make the transition from that into Gunpla?
yeah, when I was in high school,
Mm,
junior sophomore year, that
mm,
was 2010. That was 10 years
mm,
ago.
mhm,
Yeah, there's an Asian supermarket here, and they had
mm,
a import stand, and it had Gundams on it, Gundam
mm.
models in it. And I saw the Musha Gundam. It's right here, actually, my very first
Uh,
Gundam. Yeah,
there you go.
and yeah, when I saw it, I was like, "Whoa, that's the Gundam that I built in
Uh-huh.
papercraft." So I had to buy
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
and I got ripped off.
Yeah, that must
It
have
was-
cost quite a
yeah, it
lot, like
was like
50, $60, huh?
$89. I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
that was like all my birthday money right there. But yeah, it was my first experience with Gunpla as a master grade. I jumped
It's
right
pretty
into it.
awesome looking kit though, at least, right?
Yeah, it's I would say if you ask me what my favorite kit was is, I would choose this
Mm,
still because I had a
yeah.
blast building it, and I'm rebuilding it right now. My friend gave me one for my birthday, the same kit, and I'm
Mhm.
rebuilding it right now, and it's
Mm.
yeah,
A
it's
lot of
fun.
fun
Pretty fun.
revisiting something built
Hmm. Very
so long
nostalgic.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got that and built that up. How was that like your first experience building something with Gunpla and building a master grade? Because most people say start off with a high grade or something, but starting off
Mhm.
with the master grade, especially kind of a little bit more of a complex one with all like the ornamental parts and stuff. How
Right,
was that?
and this one specifically is based on the I think the 2.0 RX
Hmm.
78, where that had the pre-built inner frame for the legs.
The Mark II, I believe. Uh,
I'm not sure, but it had like the RG
oh,
style legs, so it was
okay, then
all
maybe it's the
pre-built.
2.0 Gundam. Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I
Mm,
had that. So that was pretty crazy. But I mean,
mm,
it was my first kit. I had nothing to compare it to,
mm.
and I
What did
mean,
you
like
use to build it? Did you have any tools at the time?
I used like wire cutters from my dad's
Mm,
toolbox.
mhm,
It worked well enough. It's better than nail
mm,
clippers, you
yeah.
know. But yeah,
Mm,
I mean, the instructions were clear. I mean, like my childhood was all Lego.
uh-huh.
So like
Yeah.
assembling something, following instructions was just pretty came pretty natural to me at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Mhm,
But yeah, I went to town on this. I bought Gundam markers and everything. You see all the parts that I
mhm,
painted in. All of that
yeah.
was Gundam marker. This kit is trash now, but you know,
by comparison,
yeah, the works that I do today, yeah.
Yeah.
Good to have. It's good to have though, like to compare like how far you've gone.
Yeah, sure, definitely, and fun to look back at sometimes. At least it's all still in one piece and like nothing broken or anything. You still got it.
No, there's quite a few pieces that are broken. And,
Oh, really?
yeah, like this kneecap piece here is missing. This right here is broken. I just super glued that on, but
okay.
I still love it.
So from there, then like you were hooked and you wanted to get a bunch more, or was it like a time before you ended up getting any more after that?
I kept coming back to that store. Kept getting ripped off, but it was during a time where the Sangokuden SD kits were really popular. They just come out the Musha stock kits. Yeah, I got a bunch of those, like $15 each.
50?
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I got a couple high grades.
Yeah. 15. Yeah, I mean, like it's not that bad.
Yeah, and at that time too, there was I think after a while I discovered Hobbytown, but during that whole time I had just been buying any design or any like Gundam design that I thought was cool. So anything that I could afford, that looked cool, I would go ahead and buy. I wasn't picky at all compared to today, where like I have limited display space. Where I have to be, yeah.
And I'm sure being a teenager, you're gonna have limited money as well too, right? Can't just buy everything you want, but whatever is there, whatever you can afford.
Yeah, I would spend all my allowance on model kits.
That was also, you're still living in Portland at that time?
Yeah, all of this was in Portland.
And did you have any other friends that were also doing it, or were you just kind of like doing this like by yourself, like in secret?
No, it was just me.
Yeah.
It was just me. I watched a lot of YouTube. Back then the Gundam community on YouTube was small. It was like Vegeta, Henry, Prime 92, Too Old for Toys. The OG people. And that was my window. That was my small window into the Gunpla world.
And probably at that time was when like Henry was still relatively new, and probably like he was just getting started into painting or something. So was it like because of his influence that you started getting into painting? Is that where you were going next with this story?
Yes. Yeah. There was during a time too where he was using like Krylon and Rust-Oleum paints. Paint like his perfect grade strays. Yeah, that really got me into it. I was using Gundam markers, and I was doing. What got me into it actually was Too Old for Toys. He did a tutorial for like doing metallic paint jobs with like Tamiya rattle cans, and I think he was painting on the runners too. So like we've got a long way.
From, right.
Yeah, that's what got me into it, but I didn't start seriously getting into it though until later on. Like it was just before I started my Facebook page where I started really taking it seriously.
So what made you want to decide to take it a little bit more seriously? Just you were looking for a hobby to be more invested in, or like you were interested in competing, or was there any like reason why you wanted to take it to the next level?
I discovered the Reddit community, the Reddit Gunpla community, and this dude had a he was hosting a Gunpla contest, and the theme was build fighters. And I don't remember the exact rules, but it just had to be build fighters themed. And that's when I came up with my Pokemon trio, because the second season of Build Fighters was the Tri, so it was the teams of 3. I was like, oh, let's do the starters thing. Like I saw someone had done the Gujin Blastoise, so that idea wasn't from me. It was from someone else. But I just built upon that and like assembled my own three teams, and I ended up winning that contest. So that was cool. But he promised prizes like a trophy or a model kit or something, and he actually never got around to it. So I never got my prize for that. But it
went actually won anything substantial.
I mean, it was the work that started it all for me. Like it went
Yeah.
viral, like Kotaku and stuff. It got featured all over the place. It's like, oh, I could
Well,
do something with this. So I started my Facebook page.
yeah.
From there.
Why don't you bring up the photos of that if you can? Let's take a look. And
Yeah.
for the contest, were you required to build a team of 3, or you only had to build one and you just wanted to build 3?
No, I think you could just build one, and you had the
Mm,
choice of doing 3. I'm not sure. It was so long ago,
mm.
but let me
Yeah.
find
So these are the works that I'm sure must have been the first works from yours that I saw, and probably a lot of people have seen. Like you said, they were featured a lot, and I'm sure
it.
have been featured unaccredited on a lot of websites and around the internet
Oh
as
yeah,
well too.
yeah. I've seen it every now and then. I see it pop up in Facebook Gundam groups. Do you see it?
Yeah, yeah. There he
Yeah, every
is.
now and then I see it pop up in Gundam groups with no credit or anything, and I would just like sneak into the comments and be like, "Hey, I'm glad you like my work. Check out my page."
Yeah. You don't get too worked up about it.
No, no, I don't. It's
Yeah.
flattering that people are sharing my work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can you zoom in on these photos at all? Or I'm sure you have close-ups as well, but I'm just wondering,
yeah, I should be able to.
whilst viewing these, if you can zoom, or if you need to
Yeah.
open them, just so that people can see more closely. If they're not familiar with these.
Is that good enough?
I mean, it's the same.
Oh, okay. I know.
I think you opened it separately.
Yeah, hold up.
Yeah. Pull that up. And also, so I mean, if this was your first time, really going in on a kit, and especially 3 kits, was that your first time doing like, or these airbrushed and like kit bashing, any sort of like customization? It was your first time doing all that?
My first time doing customization for sure.
Mhm.
Everything back previous to this was just top coat and decals.
Mhm.
And
So how
yeah,
are these
so
painted then? With airbrush or spray can?
airbrush. These were
Okay.
airbrushed, yeah.
So was it your first
The
time airbrushing then, or had you practiced on some stuff before that?
I had practiced. Actually, yeah, I have. Before this, I had done my. Sorry, it's taking so long to jump between
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
photos.
But still, like even if this is your second or third kit airbrushing, I mean, like the finish on those kits looks so good. I wouldn't have
Thank
guessed
you.
it's someone who like just started airbrushing.
Yeah, like long before I started airbrushing, I would watch like a ton of videos on it, like almost obsessively.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I actually got around to it, I had a pretty good idea of how to do it. But it was like, can you see this? The blue
Yeah.
astray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can see there's a lot of orange peel going on. But this was my very first attempt
Airbrushing.
at painting. Yeah, airbrushing.
That's the arms are from, it's like a Chinese bootleg kit, like conversion kit, right?
Yeah, third party add-on kit.
I don't remember that. It's been so long. It's not a full kit. It's just a conversion kit, or is it a full kit?
It was just for the arms.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, I did the Sengoku Astray. And I chose this because I wanted to have like something to go along with this, the blueprint.
Like a duo.
And yeah, I think this is what started my obsession with having everything that I make like have like a partner or like a pair.
Yeah.
I just make something and have it be like its own thing. I like pairing things up, and you're gonna see that a lot in the works that I show later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it looks good. I mean, and so was there any reason why you chose the Astray? I know because it's such a popular design that a lot of people love. So is that like including you as well? You just love the Astray, or it's just one that you just wanted to go for?
Yeah, I saw a papercraft. There was a papercraft model of it that I never got around to making, but I thought it was really cool. So
that would be a really that strikes me as that'd be a really hard one to make papercraft.
Yeah, it's
not like the RX-78. It was like a relatively simple design, but like
it's very blocky.
Yeah, and Astray would be one of the more tough ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I still love the Astrays to this day, even though it's overrated. One of those overrated designs.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't. It's like anything. It's something some people love and some people aren't really crazy about. So, Yeah, Bandai makes a lot of them because I guess a lot of people love them, but I'm kind of indifferent. Yeah, I like it. I like it, and I like especially some variants more than others, but it's not.
Yeah.
I don't like hate the design.
Yeah, blue and red are still my favorites. So let's go back to my first set of builds. So the trio.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
which one did you make first?
I think it was the Blastoise one because I had already seen someone make the Blastoise Gushin before, so it was pretty straightforward. All I had to do was masking. Most of it was just here in the torso. That had a lot of masking involved, but all I did here, modification-wise, was the cannons. So that was straightforward, and
yeah,
I have a lot of fun looking for model kits or like mech designs that would suit what I'm going for.
Yeah. I get what you mean. Yeah,
like the Donazine for the Charizard and the Dom. This one was hard because there was no Gundam design that looked like anything close to a Venusaur.
right. Yeah, that would be a tough one, and I think it ends up being the most. I mean, it's clearly the most like unique, like wild design because of that. Because there's
the most heavily modified too out of the three.
The bases are really super cool as well. Is that something that you made like at the same time, or you made like a little bit later on?
Oh, this was during it too. Like I wanted to have some sort of base to display them on.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So these, and just because we're talking about your painting as well, I'm wondering what were you using to paint with those, and are you still using the same type of paints? Do you have a paint preference?
I use Tamiya paints because they're the most accessible to me, and I still
Tamiya acrylics.
Acrylics, yeah, through the airbrush. And I have some work in progress pictures here too.
Yeah, I want to see that. Is that what you're still primarily using these days, or have you switched to lacquers?
I've dabbled into some Gaia and Mr. Hobby paints, and they're a lot nicer to work with. I find, but they're not accessible here, so I have to import them. Yeah, they're nice to work with. I still use them though. Showing some of my work in progress.
You have a local hobby store that you go to? You said Hobby Town, right?
Hobby Town, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes every now and then I would display. They would let me display some of my work in their display case, so that's really cool of them.
Cool, yeah. That's there in Portland.
Some of these are not. Yeah, here it's local here. Yep.
Cool. So this is some of the modifications. Can you pull that back up? Oh, where'd it go?
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. Just wanted to see that again. So the Blastoise is pretty straightforward. Was it basically like you had to find some parts to make it fit, and basically it was just like stuck on the back of the backpack?
It was basically just drilling holes for the pegs to go into. It's also very sloppily done.
In hindsight.
Yeah, in hindsight, yeah.
You might have done it differently, but yeah, I know. I get the feeling. Let's see that.
I don't know why it's not showing
loading up that particular photo.
Yeah, but yeah, this is pretty much the extent of the modifications I had to do.
So what are those parts from? Where'd you get those from?
It's option part, Bandai option part, like MS Canon. All one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're just like drilled and like
I just
pegged or pinned onto the back.
It's
yeah.
Zoom in right here.
Okay, yeah.
I just used peg like polycaps to hold the pegs in.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no like on the inside of there's no housing for the polycaps. Polycaps just stuck up in there.
Yeah, it was very sloppy, but
oh yeah, I mean if it works, it holds it on there. And I mean later, I mean that kind of thing too. If it's just something that if you're sticking on a base and like in one pose, it's something you can always just glue later. Probably didn't even need the polycap ultimately.
Yeah.
But so that one you did first. Then the Charizard one, was there a lot of modification required for that? I mean, because the design's pretty close to a Charizard as it is already. I mean, I know you added the horns on it, right?
Yeah, all pretty much. No, the horns was just like the face plate flipped backwards to make the ears.
Okay.
The most work I had to do was the arms. It was from a HG Enact that I salvaged from my scrap kits. And that was it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I see your cousin's in the chat. He said he created you. I guess maybe that's the cousin who you bought the death side from.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't have the stream opened.
Here he is.
Yeah, that's him.
There you go. Well, all good. Thank you for doing that. All right, and then like you said, the hardest one, and I think ends up being the most interesting, is the Venusaur. Just the Cubile, I know, shoulder parts work so well for that. So when you came across that, was it like a really aha moment? Like, this is perfect.
At one point, I was considering the Kshatriya because of the wing binders, but that was just a huge kit.
Yeah.
So I ended up not going with that. But so I just ended up using the shoulder parts as the leaf petals, and all I had to do was trim.
Yeah.
Trim these
and I mean, was there any
bomb shields for the? All I had to do was shave them down.
Just a little bit of modification on those as well.
Yeah. And the funnels was just Kshatriya funnels with the Cubile funnels shoved in the back of it.
Oh, really?
To make it look a little bit different, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I see what you mean. Like the pink part in the back is the Cubile.
Yes.
Funnels. So like they're like doubled up. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the bases, what were the effect parts from?
Tamashii Nations, something. They're pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I was really trying to go all out with these.
Any Tamashii stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
And the bases, like the wood bases, you just found like from an arts and crafts store or something?
Joanne's. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
And the rest was history.
I dabbled into cosplay for like a year too, and my first one was just a Gundam cosplay.
Okay.
So I jumped right into the deep end with that one.
It's kind of like going back to the papercraft you've been doing before, like similar, right?
Yeah. Let me show you.
Okay.
It's not my thing, but it was fun when I did it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was that.
Okay.
Yeah, my very
it's
first.
It's a lot better done than mine was.
You did cosplay?
I would know it was not cosplay. I just made a costume for a costume party here in Korea. I think it was like my first Halloween, so it's 10 years ago, 2010. First Halloween here in Korea for a costume party. I won the costume contest, but yeah, the quality was not near as good as the one you made here.
No, I know like all the mistakes I made on this. It's not as good as it looks, but I ended up winning the costume contest, the cosplay.
Hey, there you go.
So that was really cool. Yeah, this is me on stage.
Nice.
I didn't even have the weapons built for this. It was just the suit itself.
So how many Transformers comments did you get about people calling it a Transformer, asking you if it's a Transformer?
So many.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Eventually start to just have to block it out.
Just say, yep, Transformers.
Yep. Here's some of my work in progress for it. It's most of this was stuff I learned doing paper crafts.
Yeah.
So I had a good sense of like how to make things from 2D into 3D. It was based off the RG, RX at the time. That's what I
based off the 1-to-1 scale.
Yeah. It was
using some like foam parts in there as well too for some parts.
Yeah, corrugated cardboard for the base, and then like foam sheets for the outside. So there's a lot of seam lines on there. From afar, you can't really notice it. And I was using all sorts of things from like toilet paper roll covers.
Yeah.
Or the cores.
Yeah.
Here's how I was making the panel lines.
Yeah. Huh. That's cool. So you only ever made this one? Did you ever make any others after that?
It's my first and my only cosplay.
Yeah.
And I threw it out like 2 years later because it was just in my room collecting dust. I was using cereal boxes.
Oh yeah.
But everything. I'm surprised it turned out as well as it did.
Yeah, you won the contest. And so that time, did you actually get a prize from the contest?
Yeah, I won a little plaque.
There you go.
It's in my display case right now. It's acting as my display base for my Master Grade RX 78.
Nice.
I got rid of the costume. But I still have the helmet. I don't know if it fits.
There you go.
It's kind of crushed. But hold on, let me try it.
Okay. You should have started off the interview wearing that.
I know I should have.
There you go. Yeah, your chin's sticking out a little bit, but it's still good.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you.
Cool that you kept at least that part of it, right?
What was that?
I said it's cool that you kept at least that part of it.
Yeah, I had it in my display case for a while.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you went from a gunpla contest, then cosplay contest, and then what did you want to try next? Where did you go next?
I just kept doing Gundams. Yeah. So I was just buying and building whatever design I thought looked cool. And is there any like works of mine you wanted to talk about?
Well, we can see what other stuff you've got, but just basically during that time, were you just kind of like just enjoying the process of like basics or basic intermediate, I'll say intermediate building of like just building and painting, maybe a little bit of modification, or were you at that time as well too like pushing yourself to learn techniques and new techniques and stuff a bunch?
I was pushing myself. I was new to airbrushing at the time, and like during the time I made the Pokemon customs and my first paint jobs, the Astrays, I actually hated airbrushing.
Oh, really?
It was really cumbersome having to set it up because I didn't have my dedicated workspace for that. So every time I have to set it up and take it down after I'm done. Now I have a little desk area in my garage where it's all, I have everything put where I need it. It's a lot more efficient now, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, you can go in and start airbrushing like within a couple minutes.
Yeah. So at first, it took me forever to like switch between colors in my airbrush. So I thought it was hard at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Have you found any technique or something that you've tried that was like especially more difficult too? I mean, aside from that, anything else that's like really hung you up that like you really didn't enjoy at first that you got better at or just quit doing?
I think in general, it might sound weird, but doing a clean paint job versus a weathered paint job, or a clean paint job is a lot harder than a weathered paint job. Yeah, because you can if you get paint chips all the time, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure you do. And so if you're doing a weathered paint job, you can just cover that up with some chipping, and it's all good. But
it's always so interesting for me to hear people say that because I've heard it from different people over the years, like people who I know what they're talking about, like really people who I respect as like really good modelers, to say that like clean building for me, because most of what I do is clean building, but I think that it's easy. I think like I'm lazy for not getting into weathering more, like just only doing clean builds, because like for me that seems like kind of like the basic, and then like weathering is like the higher step.
Yeah, taking it a step further.
But so it's always interesting to hear that from people. But I mean, your first few builds, the Astrays, the Pokemon builds were clean builds, right? But then after that, you wanted to try out weathering, or you got into weathering because you were tired of doing straight builds, or what kind of made you transition into doing that, or into that thinking?
I just wanted to give it a try. My very first kit doing that was the Musha Mark II, and I had actually went to Justinius Builds for advice for this.
Yeah. Let's see.
What his feedback to me, I remember this very clearly, was I didn't overdo it. And he said something along the lines of less is more.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's something that has stuck with me. I've kept in mind with my weathering.
Yeah, I mean, like even just looking at the photos here, as best I can tell, I mean, it's pretty minimal.
And I did an SD here. But yeah, trying to keep it as subtle as possible is something that I've tried to do. And
also, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
A lot of modelers out there that are like do really heavy weathering, like oh man, I don't even remember his name anymore. It's a Filipino modeler. He's really good with the the AK weathering pencils.
I don't know. With AK stuff, I'm pretty sure I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he's a Filipino modeler, but because of that, that feedback from him, I'd always, and from you too. I remember you saying something about like subtle weathering is better, or
yeah.
Always regarding Naoki's work. You said you really like his subtle weathering.
Yeah.
And so he's one of the modelers that I really his works I really enjoy.
Yeah, definitely. And like Justin would say the same thing that I would say about being less is more, but like one thing I've noticed too, like, and one thing that I really like about your work, and like even going back to the Pokemon works, that's why I was saying like it's so surprising that those were some of your first ones that you did, because your painting always looks so nice.
Thank you.
And like even on the Musha you were showing there, you said like on the first Astray, like the paint didn't come out so well, but like after that, I think as far as I've seen, your painting always looks really good. So I'm wondering, do you just find yourself kind of lucky in that sense, or have you had to troubleshoot a lot to like really perfect your paint finish?
Every now and then I would run into issues. It's usually with like paint types and what is compatible with what, right? Like lacquers are really hot compared to acrylics and stuff like that. There's mostly that, but for the most part, it's been pretty. I would say I'm pretty lucky. Right now, I'm working on a resin, the resin Hainu bust, and I'm trying a lot of different paints for that. I gave the Mr. Hobby top coats a try, the flat coat, and that just like fogged up really bad, and it ruined all my decals. So that's kicking my ass, that build.
Yeah. So did you restart, or were you able to find some way to fix it?
I stopped after a few parts, painting a few parts, and noticing. So I mean, it's not too bad. It's just like one small step back. But yeah, I'm trying the Gaia top coats next. See if it's any better. I don't know. There's just some paint brands that I just can't work with for some reason. Like the Vallejo Air, they're really good for for hand brushing, but airbrushing I cannot.
You know, you're not the first person I've heard that from, but I've never tried them myself, so I couldn't really say. And obviously enough people. I mean, it's a big brand, so obviously enough people use them. So you got to think. I'm sure the paint like works fine because it's a big company. A lot of people use it, but I have heard multiple people complain. So I don't know. I'll have to try it someday, I guess. But yeah, as far as like the top coats go, the Mr. Color top coat that you were using, was it airbrushed or spray can one?
Airbrush. Yeah, I haven't worked with spray cans for a while.
Yeah. For me personally, Do you know which one it was? It's kind of getting a little bit off on tangent, but that's fine.
For what?
The Mr. Color top coat that you used.
Oh, it was just Mr. Color flat, clear flat. I'm not sure what the exact name was, but it was a really old jar, so that might have been it.
Could be, and I mean, also in Portland, I imagine it's probably humid a lot of the time as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah. I know humidity does play a big part of that, and especially if you're outside in the garage. Like, is your garage door open too?
The first time I did it, it was open, so I felt like the humidity may have been high. The next time, the following day, I did it with a couple more parts, with my garage door closed, and I bought I don't know what it's called, but I bought a thing that checks the humidity and temperature in the room, and it was 50% humidity, so it was like ideal levels from what I read, and it still did the same thing. So
yeah, then I don't know. I mean, I'm certainly no expert on this, so I couldn't troubleshoot that. But I will just say that Mr. Color flat clear, at least if it's the same one that we're talking about, is what I use almost all the time, and I really like it. But
I remember. I asked you about that, and that's what you said.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I know, like I saw Ryan in the chat was talking about the GX 114, and Jim keeps telling me to use that as well. But so far, I've pretty much only used, I think it's 82 or 182. It's just the flat clear. I really like the effect of that because it's not super matte. It's a little bit satiny. That's nice. And I think like for your paint style, I think it's a good fit. So hopefully you can get it working. But Gaia's worked pretty well as well too. When I've used Gaia flat coats and gloss coats, I wasn't really as pleased with it. But I think it could be a similar thing. Like you try it 1 or 2 times, and you're not really that pleased with it, so you kind of like don't really want to try it anymore. But there's probably just like a trick you have to get figured out. You know?
Yeah, I want to try Gaia. I have the Gaia one on the way. I ordered it. And I've been following Mika June on YouTube. He goes by Godfinger. I don't know if you follow him, but
I've heard, and I think probably seen a couple of videos. But
yeah, his work is so good, and that's what he uses is the Gaia top coats. So I've been following him closely and trying to copy him pretty much everything that he does and see if like that works for me.
He's Korean, right? He's also here in Korea, I think. Yeah. I've seen some stuff, but not a whole lot.
I feel like he came out of nowhere. I feel like suddenly he just like popped up and started posting a bunch of his work everywhere on Facebook. Yeah. There's,
I mean that tends to happen, and I feel like especially here in Korea, the community is like pretty, at least from my experience, and I'm not super in depth with the Korean community here, so, but at least from my point of view, it seems like a lot of people don't really post a lot of stuff like until they're ready to post a lot of stuff. Like they would, it's not like where at least on like a lot of English speaking Facebook groups or something, you have a lot of people posting things that they're proud of, but like if we were speaking like competitively or like objectively about what's like a really high skilled model that like wouldn't meet that criteria, but I feel like people are more sensitive here in Korea to post stuff if they know that like it wouldn't be considered like really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just started seeing his work, and he looked like he has like a huge catalog of his past works that he was just like showing. Like it's like one every couple of days he would post something new, and I'm like, how's this guy working so fast? Yeah, but right now he's working on the Fortune Meow resin kit Hainu.
Oh yeah,
which I was planning to work on. And I was trying to be one of the first people to finish that kit, and I don't know.
Yeah, never underestimate the speed of some people as well too. So as you're building a lot of stuff, I just want to talk about some more of your past builds then. When did you get into trying other stuff? Because like I said, you placed second in my Kotobuki contest. Was that your first time trying anything non-Gunpla, or when did you, and how did you make your way into trying other things as well too?
Before that, I I did a couple of the Kotobukiya Zoids,
Ah.
but outside of that, I think everything else was Gundam. Yeah, that was that Kotobukiya contest. I feel like I gained a lot of experience because I really pushed myself. And I know you said you don't like the color blue, like blue. And
yeah, it's a tricky one, but yeah.
both of my entries, or like even the Zaku one that I never finished on time, that was blue, and the Kotobukiya contest entry was blue. So one of these days, I want to win first place with a blue mobile
With something
suit.
blue.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a tricky one for me. I don't know, but your armor core kit blue. I mean, the blue on that it's like a purplish kind of blue, right?
Yeah, like a lilac kind of blue. Yeah, here it is.
Was that like custom mixed, or was that just straight? Yeah, let's see. Was that just a straight out the bottle like that?
Mostly, it was Nazca 1,000 million blue or 1,000 blue. I'm not sure. It was one of Naoki's.
Million Blue, I think, is the name of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was mostly that. I think I added some white or gray to tone it down a little bit. To desaturate.
Yeah, because I have that color. I'm sure I've used it a handful of times. But yeah, it does look like either I don't remember it looking that good, or yeah, you tinted it a little bit. It looks like, but I mean, it's blue, but it doesn't like scream blue. It's not like a goof.
Lavender, almost. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really nice color. So I mean, like that's right on the border of what I would consider blue. So you're safe with that one. That's why you did so well with that.
Working on this kit was my first time where I felt like I am like really like balls deep into this hobby. I was buying like Kotobukiya parts, and this is what the kit looks like.
Yeah.
Out of box. It looks kind of gross, to be honest.
Yeah.
Plastic is like pearl. You know? And I've seen some people complain about like how these are overhyped and they're not that great when you build them. But if you put some work into them, they look really good.
Yeah. That's kind of the sense that I get too. Anytime I look at those armor core kits, like just how they look just straight out of the box, I'm just thinking like, no thanks. But when you see a painted one, yeah, they look great. I mean, like at the Shizuoka Hobby Show last year, they were in Japan, and like in all like the hobby and like the modelers space, there was some really amazing painted ones there. It was really cool to see. Because it's just armor core kits. People ask me now and then to review them more often, and I think I've only ever reviewed one. That's the only one I ever built too, just because I'm not that into the designs. But when I see them painted, they are, I mean, like really well done. They look cool.
Yeah, one of my favorite modelers of all time is von Schlipp.
Not familiar.
He does a lot of Kotobukiya armored core stuff, and that's who he was one of my main inspirations for my weathering style. And I did mention him too in my the painting and weathering guide that I recently put together.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to ask you about this. So you said you really went all in on this model. You felt this is one you bought this model specifically for this contest, or it was one you had already, and when the contest came about, you took the opportunity to build this?
The latter. I had this kit already in my backlog. I bought it from a local friend of mine from my Gundam group. Shout out to the Sleeves, the Oregon Gunpla group. I've had this for a while because I bought it because I had heard good things about it, and it's like one of those holy grail kits for a lot of people.
It's a cool design.
Yeah, and I use contests as my excuse for a lot of stuff that I wouldn't normally do otherwise. So I thought that was a perfect opportunity to get started on this kit. Was your contest?
Yeah. That's what I mean. Just from the organizing standpoint, it's one of the reasons why I like putting on contests, is because I think for a lot of people it is a really good excuse to push your skills. I know Ryan's watching. Ryan can attest to that. I'm sure he'll agree with that as well. But yeah, I mean the base too. I really loved the base as well. And I'm sure I mentioned this too when I talked about it in the announcement video way back when. So, but I didn't really, I have never talked to you directly about that. So can you explain a little bit about how you went about building the base for it as well?
Yeah, I have pictures of it here.
It's all scratch built?
The only the like the bottom, like actual base part of it, I built it up from there. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is what the original base looked like. It's just a couple of hexagons.
Flat pieces, yeah.
Yeah, and I wanted to turn it into a sort of diorama, and I had a lot of these.
Like truss parts.
Yeah, they were from Plastruct. They have a lot of these. They're really useful for this kind of thing. And if you notice from the shape of this was actually something I had for a different project. These steel beams and the ladders. They are from.
I'm not sure I've ever actually seen those before. I mean, it makes sense that they would exist, but I don't know if I've ever seen them.
Yeah, I originally had them because I wanted to make
some sort of like MS cage or something.
No, even better.
Okay.
If I can find it. There it is. It was for.
I remember this now. I totally forgot about this.
My Donkey Kong.
Yeah. I totally forgot about this, but I remember seeing that as well too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite things to do is to do crossovers. I'm a huge Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
So I do a lot of these little fun things, and this is right here. It's what I had in mind originally was to do like a backdrop of this for this.
Yeah.
But I never got around to it.
That would be cool. Well, I mean, there's still time. That would be really cool to see. Sure. Yeah, I wanted, on the note of liking Nintendo, I noticed the Game Boys on the wall behind you. That's really cool as well too. I like the framed Game Boys.
Yeah, the Pokemon.
Yeah,
big part of my childhood.
Yeah, that's awesome. So those you made as well too, just yourself?
They're just like most of those are I bought already broken.
Off eBay or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just a fun little project.
Yeah.
Here's the base again.
For the Donkey Kong or for the Armored Core?
For the Armored Core, yeah. So it's just these originally. And I wanted to do something more with it. I didn't send you pictures of the base because there was like a limit to the pictures.
Yeah. I think I could just kind of see it a little bit and maybe one or two of the photos, enough that I thought it looks cool.
So. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed it. But this is my first time like scratch building this much. And it was definitely a learning experience. Those Plastruct specialty parts helped a lot.
Yeah, they look really nice.
Yeah.
And the like light posts and like the rail parts, of those just made of wire or like
yeah, these right here. Yep. There's a model train shop that has a lot of diorama type things, and that's been really helpful for me. Diorama making.
And oh yeah, I mean, it came out looking great. And
thank you.
The photography is really great as well too. I mean, even if this was photographed in a different way, like sometimes like the really dark photography like that like looks really good, but then when you see the kit like in full light, you're like, yeah, it kind of looked better when I couldn't see it as well. But this one, like I'm certain that it looks really good in like full light as well too. But the dramatic photography does work really well, and I like that like the base is there and you can see it, but it's not super bright because like the color of the kit is so bright. The color of the kit looks really good.
That's something I'm still constantly working on, is the photography, and I'm learning that's like a whole nother thing in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like presenting your work. Saintism, he does some really good photography. That's like photography goals for me.
Yeah. I know what you mean. This one I don't think I've seen.
This is the Zaku.
Okay.
I was going to enter for your contest.
Yeah.
But I finished it like a year later.
So did you finish this after your your Kotobukiya contest entry then?
No, this was before that.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Yeah. This was my first time doing a high gloss candy finish. And part of the reason why it took me so long too was because I was having such a hard time making it clean. And I still have it here, actually. My favorite thing about it is probably the base that I made.
Is that all just scratch built as well too, or it's like built around something?
Yeah, it's built around a jigsaw puzzle cardboard box.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
And I had it on a rotating display base.
Like within the box. Okay, here I can add that. Okay.
Yep.
The video will show it. Yeah.
And I bought like a little spotlight lights for the corners.
Oh yeah, that's simple enough, eh? Just put a box around the base and have it like that. Nice. I'll just do
I don't know if this would have won if I had finished it on time.
I don't remember a lot of the entries other than Ryan's off the top of my head, but yeah, certainly would have made it tough. I mean, it looks great as far as I can tell.
Yeah. Thank you.
Again, like the paint finish on it looks really good and everything. So it's blue though, so I don't know.
I know. Yeah. One of these days, man.
Well, keep at it. I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Another contest entry of mine, and I end up learning the most out of these when I participate in contests, because it's when I end up learning, like, end up trying things that I don't normally do.
That's good too.
Shoki Reviews hosted the Lupus for Lupus.
Yeah.
Held off. I placed second place again, but this was my
last year.
Yeah, I believe it was last year. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is my entry.
So was this your first time doing any sort of nature scene diorama?
Yeah, the terrain. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the terrain tutors videos. Really cool YouTube channel where he does a lot of this for like wargaming.
Okay.
These are a lot of fun to make, actually. I want to do more of these. My goal for this one was to tell a story in a diorama form. That's how I came up with the idea of this. Right here.
And the splatter effect on that is really cool.
The oil splatter.
Nice. And yeah, the diorama, like what did you say? What's the word for that? I'm not like well versed in that stuff.
Terrain.
Yes. Terrain. I like in sort of little dioramas like this where it's there to set the scene, but there's not like any really like overpowering element of the terrain. Still the focus is like on the kits.
Yeah. I wanted to make this oil splatter look really jarring. I just had to go with straight black for them. And
anything you feel you would have done differently?
I think the posing is a little off. It's not. It doesn't convey emotion as much as I had like in my mind.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
it seems like this the top half of the Barbatos.
Yeah, it seems stiff.
Yeah, I get that. But still, and this one as well too, it looks like it's the similar kind of weathering, like you're talking about, the kind of very minimal style weathering on it.
Yeah, which
looks nice.
Yeah, with the colored pencils that I like to use so much. Yeah, if you wanna paint like this, I have that guide that I recently finished putting together that shows.
Yeah, actually, I do want to also, if you have pictures of it there, I'm sure you do. I want to take a look at your recent Zoids kit that you made to pair with the Armored Core kit.
Yes.
I'd like to just take a look at that. But yeah, and I want to talk about the guide you made recently as well. But so while you pull up that, we'll also let everyone know, those of you guys who are watching live now too, and pretty soon I want to take some questions from you guys for Khris. So if any of you guys want to ask any questions to Khris about his work or whatever, then prepare your questions. You post those there in the chats, and we'll get to those here in a minute. But Khris, if we can, because I love that you went back, even though the Armored Core kit was one that you made. It's now been what, 2 years or something now, probably, and I love that you went back to it and now made the Zoids kit to go along with it.
Yeah. I'm always
It's very cool.
that Zoid's Great Saber was
Mm-hmm.
a design I thought was really cool. So I've been looking for an excuse to
Mm-hmm.
work on that, and I thought
Yeah.
that's paired really nicely with the white glint.
Yeah.
So
they look really cool together. I wouldn't have thought, like,
what am I seeing?
it's two very totally different things, right? But painted the same color scheme, and they look cool.
Okay, that's a little bit bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the kit that I used for that guide that I made.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I would say this is probably my best work so far.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Even though I didn't do anything new, it was just me trying to refine what I had already known.
Oh yeah, totally. I get that. I think like probably some of my own personal favorite works. I have the same thing. Like it's maybe like a couple of kits that I think are probably a couple of my best works are probably not the ones that like I feel like got the most like attention online or like got a lot of like really good feedback for. Probably like a lot more people were excited about these other builds that were something, but I think like this one, which was maybe like not that big a deal to a lot of people, for me personally, I feel like was one of my favorite or one of my best ones.
That's something I noticed too. Like work in progress pictures, for example, get a lot more traction than like your full finished album too.
Yeah, that happens too.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think it's also just because we're the ones like working on it in person. We know where there's like things that we would have liked to have done differently, or where something like a color or decal or something you would have maybe done a little bit different, or where there's like some little mistake that no one's ever going to really see, but like it's there.
The artist's curse, all the mistakes that you made. Yeah.
But when you make something that's like really super good, like maybe it's not obvious to see for everyone else, but because you made it, like it's really good.
Yeah,
it's different. So
yeah,
I really like just that style of like the really dark. I'm sure I mentioned this as well too, talking about your Armored Core kit back at the contest, but I really liked the contrast with like the equipment being like this really dark color from the main mecha. So it really gave a nice contrast where it really looks like it's just like option equipment like added onto there.
Added onto it, yeah.
And the same thing with the Zoids as well too.
Yeah, that's why I chose that Zoid in particular to pair with this one, because
it has that equipment on it.
Yeah, like all the like the wings on the back. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a good example as well too, where you have a kit that's finished and like you consider it finished, and maybe it's been finished for a long time. You can still come back to it and do some cool things, whether it's adding like a pair or making a base or something like I was saying before. If you wanted to go back to your Donkey Kong kit, I think you still should go back and make a base for that.
Oh, I already sold it, so.
Oh well.
Yeah.
Could make the base and then sell it to the same person. Say, I made the base for that kit you bought. You can buy it separately. Pull a Bandai on, and it's just sold separately.
This is another one that I had a lot of fun with.
This is something you were working on quite a lot last year, right?
This is something I did in between my larger projects. I wanted to work like little palette cleanser projects, basically little high grades that I would do every now and then. And this is something, again, it's not like an original idea. I've seen a lot of people do like Power Rangers themed builds, but I wanted it would be like a lot of like all GMs in different colors, or like Zorros or something like that. And I wanted to do a little bit more with that. So the main challenge for me here was just choosing different mobile suits. Not from the same.
Mobile suits that you felt kind of fit the character, right?
Yeah, a lot. My main, I guess, like criteria that I set for myself was they had to be like round mobile suits. A lot of curves. So picking them out was a lot of fun, and I tried to make them complement like the color or like the weapon that they had. Like This one, which the picture didn't come out that great because it's black
Yeah.
on black.
Yeah.
But the weapon is the axe, so I wanted to come with use a bulky mobile suit for this, and pink one, something cute.
With the bow.
Yeah, and then like the kunais, something like ninja-like.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my main thing for this. It was a lot of fun, and it was good to go back into making something with like a clean paint job as well.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I think can just be really super fun. And this is something I've talked a lot about with Josh. Actually, we've talked a lot about this. I don't think like live, but just personally, just doing really fun projects like that where you're not like, it's not a ton of time invested into it, but you're making like a custom kit, a really unique kit, but like with kind of minimal effort, sort of. That's not meaning to like in a negative way, but like,
Yeah,
just changing the weapon, maybe changing a couple parts here and there,
right. I
changing the
didn't
colors.
like, and this is one of those where I was not entering it in a. I didn't want to like go like full in on this. I didn't do seam line filling or anything like that, and because of that, it's a lot more. I don't know. It's very relaxing to do.
No, yeah, it's lots of fun. I like that's kind of honestly kind of like my favorite way to build
And
to work on painted kits like that when it's just something simple like that. It's the most fun for me.
yeah, funnily enough, most of the work that went into this was for the weapons, just customizing them. This here, the bow for the Pink Ranger was the Transient Gundam's weapons.
Yeah.
So it's cannibalized that kit for this. And for the Black Ranger, it was the IBO axe option parts with Eastern rifle here for the base.
Right.
This was the Blue
Nice.
Ranger's spear right here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun just picking and choosing like different parts.
Yeah.
For these.
That's something else too that I think it's kind of so, at least for a lot of beginners, I'm sure, people who have experience with that understand, but for beginners, how much time it takes just you spend just like looking through like Dalong, basically. For me, it's usually just looking through everything on Dalong a bunch.
Window shopping.
Yeah. What you think will fit, with your idea that you want to do. So, I'm glad you brought those up. I forgot about those as well too, but those were also really cool. Let's talk about your painting guide, and just again, if you guys have any questions, just go ahead and post those in the chat now, and I'll try to mark those so we can get to them. But Khris, you recently made this guide.
Yes.
That you posted around on Facebook, but I want to make sure everyone can find that.
Let me just
they want
here.
Yep.
Yeah, I have the link to it, to the PDF, and an Imgur album for those who are using mobile and having trouble opening PDFs. There's that. But
that's on your Facebook page, and on your Instagram you have a link there as well.
Not on my Instagram yet. No.
On your Facebook page. And you said earlier too that your Facebook is the thing that you're using mostly for sharing a lot of work and stuff.
Yeah. So I think I'm not able to share the PDF directly, so let's just go to my Imgur one.
Okay. And this was all using the Liger that you recently built.
Yes, the Saber, Great Saber. Yep.
Saber, right? Yes.
So basically, it just goes step by step. Step by step on like every single one of everything that I do, pretty much. Try to go as much like into detail about like everything that I do, as well as like links to like the products that I use. And like in the beginning, I just like reference some of my favorite modelers. Yeah, and here's the links.
Going through all the process, not really necessarily the like basic building process, but more so painting and weathering, right? I guess that's the title of it, right? Painting and weathering.
Yeah, all the masking and stuff that I had to do, and in the end, I go into a little bit into how I don't think it's perfect. Like there's some like disadvantages to
mm,
the methods that I use, like using colored
mm,
pencils for chipping. If you handle it too much, the graphite or the pigment will come off, and
mm,
like the 2 to 3 layers of flat coat will make your model look fuzzy almost.
mm. These sort of things that are like maybe not like the mainstream accepted like proper way to do it, but it's something that
Yeah,
you do and it works for you.
right. And I made sure to
So,
explain that too in the
yeah.
in this, like why I do
Mm,
it and like
mm,
things to watch out for.
mm,
But for right now, I think the results are good enough that I'm happy to display it in my shelf.
mm,
But yeah, I'm like right now I'm trying to look into different clear coats to use,
mm,
and I want to look into like actually using actual paint for chipping and stuff like that.
mm.
And yeah,
I know you also use the real touch markers very
Mhm.
successfully as well too, right?
That's one of my favorite tools to use. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really simple to use. It's easy to
Mm,
work with, and if you don't like what you've done, you can.
mm,
I find it. I've found that it's very similar to enamel washes,
mm,
so you
mm,
can clean it off with lighter fluid
mm,
or enamel thinner, and it'll come off
mm,
just fine. But yeah,
mm,
so I like to think of my painting process as just a lot of simple and accessible tools
mm.
combined with
Yeah, I think that's really helpful for a lot of people. Like you said, when you first started getting into airbrushing, you said you spent a ton of time beforehand, like watching videos and stuff, and like preparing for that.
Mhm.
I think I've talked about this at different times in the past in other videos and stuff, but I think that is something that I think kind of overwhelms people sometimes. They're like hesitant to try getting into airbrushing because they're doing all their research and just like getting kind of overwhelmed by doing too much research into it. But then I think guides like that, where it just presents it kind of very simply, like not like overcomplicating things with like too much information, but like just
Mhm.
giving a very straightforward,
Yeah.
guide how to do this. And like, I think is a really good type of guide for people who want to maybe follow your footsteps.
Yeah,
And like you
and
said,
I mean, you're gonna
mm,
mess up a lot too, like your first
sure.
attempts, and that's to be
Yeah.
expected. But
Mm,
if you were to ask me, like what I think, like my advice would be is don't be afraid to mess up, but also
mm,
don't jump into it blindly. Like do your research
mm,
first,
mm.
so you have an idea.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll maybe come back to that in a second. But let's take a couple. There's a couple of questions here.
Sure.
I'll ask you. Once the pandemic passes, do you have plans on winning other OMS or IPMS shows? What's OMS? I don't even know what that is.
Oregon model
Okay.
show. Yeah.
There you go.
I don't have anything ready to enter yet, but I have done all of the Supernova wing Gundam
Mm,
kits, and I want to eventually make them into like one big diorama with all 5 of the mobile
mm,
suits. I want to enter that next year, but I'm pretty sure it's canceled. So
uh,
yeah. My main
yes.
goal is to enter GBWC.
Have you
And
entered
yeah,
before?
no, not yet. No,
Mm,
I want one of those trophies so bad.
yeah, yeah.
The Anime Expo leg of the
Mm,
competition is the one I want to enter eventually, but that's a little bit further down the road. I have an idea for what I want to do, but it's a lot of
mm.
scratch building, and yeah,
Well, you have until next year still.
I know. But
Yeah.
also means like all of the the veteran modelers are also
Mm.
taking that time to refine their work. So
Yeah, well, you never know. We talked about this a bunch a couple months back on Gunflip Talk. We were talking about that. I think that it'll probably go kind of both ways. You'll have some people who utilize the time, I think, really well, and a lot of people though I think won't. They'll work on other stuff and then work on their GBWC later, sort of normally, I guess. But
mhm. Do you have anything planned?
For entering GBWC, I have an idea that I think I really like, but I don't know if I'll do it or not. I'm quite busy. Like my reasoning for why I decided not to enter this year, this is before it was canceled. I already had decided not to enter just because I opted to just spend my time working on other smaller things rather than like months and months working on just one big project. Just for the way that I'm doing my modeling now, doesn't really fit. But maybe we'll see. It'd be cool. I think it'd be really cool to at least, I don't know about win, but at least place here in Korea, like as a non-Korean. I think it would probably be the first. So
I think you could do it.
We'll see. Stuff. That's kind of my main motivation for entering, just because I think it'd be cool to at least place as a non-Korean. But anyway, and then we have a question here from William as well. He said, "You've done the Donkey Kong and Power Rangers. What other brands do you want to make Gundam models after?" Next mashup on build.
I've done a couple other ones that I haven't shown yet. The SD Neo Zeons. Those are really popular because of their compatibility with the what's it called? The Nendoroids.
Oh yeah.
So I've done a couple of those. I've done
this one,
this Diva one.
Yeah,
they're a lot of fun. And I also did.
That's cool.
I also did a Zelda one.
Oh yeah.
With
the Diva one, I'm not sure I saw, but I do remember the Zelda one, too.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the shield was a lot of fun to make. It was from the crossbone accessory.
Yeah.
This is the base, and I just shaved off the skull piece.
Yeah.
And replaced it with the Xeon emblem for that. So that was fun. And I also did another Pokemon one. This was when Pokemon Go was really popular. The the Wing Gundams as the legendary birds.
Yeah.
Their beam sabers was one of the main things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite parts for them all. And I used high grades for the Zapdos and the Moltres one. But for this one, this was the real grade. So it was a lot more detailed compared to these two. So I had to do a lot of filling in details, which is something I never thought I would have to do on a model. Yeah, just to make it blend in a little bit better.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, this is another one I really forgot about, but now seeing it again, I remember. Yeah, that was, and the beam sabers are such a cool aspect of that, because like without that, I mean, they still would have passed as like the legendary birds, but it was such a cool aspect to add in there as well.
Yeah, and I had to transform them too for these pictures. Which was really stressful.
Yeah,
I did not want to chip the paint.
Yeah, I bet so. Man, I wouldn't have bothered with that. But fortunately, it's a relatively simple transformation for those Gundams. It's not like a Zeta or something where you're folding like the entire kit in half and everything.
Right. What else? I think that's it.
Any other future plans for anything though? What about doing like a Samus would be really cool. I think that'd be a really good one for your style.
Yeah, that'll be cool. When I did the Power Ranger build, Power Rangers, I had a lot of comments asking where's the Green Ranger, and that is something I considered, but I'm having trouble finding like just the right mobile suit design for that, so I haven't done that yet. But there's the Dragon Zord that I have plans for.
Okay,
keep an eye out for that.
There you go. All right, let's get a couple more questions here. Doug, it's pretty easy one here. Would you ever get a 3D printer to work with? Something you ever thought much about?
No, I feel like that's a whole nother hobby to like sink a lot of time into. I haven't even began to look into that, but they're getting a lot sharper with the quality. So I don't know. Like I know like a lot of resin kit companies are using those now for their molds. But personally, no, not yet. Anyway.
And Ryan asked, "What's your favorite scale to build?"
I would say
he's getting
master
really
grade.
excited about our mega size there, but
No, I haven't touched mega size kits yet, just because I know that must take so much paint to use to paint up.
yeah.
I would say definitely master grade scale, and a lot of my choices for like my projects has to do with the size of my display case, my IKEA shelves. So
That's
here's
interesting.
what
Yeah.
they are. I try to make them take up as much of like the shelves as possible.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah,
It's like just the right size for a big master grade.
Like I find like the high grades are still pretty small.
Yeah.
Perfect grades are good. So I want to work with those more. Yeah, master grades or 1 to 100 scale around there is my favorite scale to work with, definitely.
But it's kind of interesting considering like a lot of the builds that we've looked at today. I think probably some of your most popular ones have not been master grades.
I know they're just so easy to work with, you know.
Yeah, but still, I mean, you can still have a preference, right, for master grades, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see. Just checking the comments here. And unless we get any more questions here at the end, let's see. We've touched on this, but here's just a quick question from Jonathan saying, "Do you work with other types of plastic models?" I would say we already know that you work on other stuff as well, obviously Armored Core Zoids, but I guess I'll reshape this question a little bit and just ask you, do you have like any other preferred kind of like you really prefer stuff like Armored Core Zoids, or is there other stuff like Machining Krieger or things that you would like to get into that you haven't tried yet?
It's the more fun looking mechs, like the Mechatro Wigos. Those are fun. The what is it that you had the contest using?
Nachin.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
I built one frame arms girls kit. That was fun. It's in my PC right now in here. But other plastic models. The Takara Tomy movie Transformers model kits, DMKs, dual model kits. I have the Bumblebee and the Optimus Prime kits. I have it right here actually. Right here. They're like high res models before the high res models came out. Yeah, but they're super detailed. And I want to do high finish. We'll go back into high finish like candy paint jobs and metallics with this.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'll get around to that this year.
But you have plans to work on some other stuff as well too then. And this also one is as well too, maybe an easy one for you. What are those cases that you use? You said they're from IKEA.
Yeah, they're IKEA Detolfs. All I did.
Those seem to be the kind of the most common ones that people use, right?
Yeah. All I did was I raised them up with little cube modular storage units from Walmart. I don't know if they sell them anymore.
Okay. Yeah. Because normally they're just all the way to the floor.
Yeah, and like the bottom shelf would be like almost wasted. So
yeah.
I wanted to raise them up, and I the lighting is like right here in the front. The light bars, those are from the collection corner. I had them custom made. He does a lot of really cool like lighting setups for Detolf.
Nice.
But yeah, they're just Detolfs.
And there's one. Let's see. All right, we'll have these last two questions here. There's one that I skipped over, but don't worry, I'm coming back to it. Who asked that?
Favorite process?
But no, this one here is favorite process step for model making. What's your favorite part? and or least favorite part?
I would say the water slide decals. They're very
Is your
relaxing.
favorite?
Yeah, it's almost like a puzzle, almost trying to find the right
Mhm.
decal for the right
Yeah.
spot on your model.
Yeah.
Recently, I've been enjoying masking a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I've just accepted that it's one of those tedious steps. So I would just like put on like a podcast or something to listen to while I do it, and it ends up
Mhm.
being very relaxing. So
I've found myself recently, now that I've had to do a lot more on like the past couple of builds, that I'm getting used, I wouldn't say enjoying, but getting more used to masking. Yeah, it's something that I just always avoided as much as possible.
mhm.
But I'm also kind of getting a little bit more used to it. But as far as decals go, I mean, yeah, that's a pretty good analogy, I think, comparing it to like a puzzle. But it's like building a puzzle where you don't know what the finished puzzle is supposed to look like. You don't have like the reference image, so that's the hard part.
Like I rarely ever follow like the instruction manuals for like
Yeah.
placement and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, because I mean, most kits don't come with like a full decal set, right? So.
Yeah, and that's one of the aspects of model making where I feel like I have the strongest sense of like my own style almost, because I have somehow I've come up with like this set of rules for myself that I follow when I'm placing decals. Like I never place them unless it's in like an emblem decal. I never place it in the center of like a panel. It's always some like on the edge or a corner somewhere. So,
oh yeah, I think I'm the same way, and I think that just sort of, yeah, it's just sort of like an aesthetic that you develop with over practice, for yourself. And some people do a little bit differently. As far as like placing a decal in the center of a part, I mean, yeah, it's something that I very rarely will ever do as well too. But someone who I know does that really well is Justinius. Actually, like I've noticed that multiple times looking at Justin's works. He'll sometimes have like a decal. It's like not a big one or anything, just a little like caution marking or something like right in the middle. Where at first I'm like, oh, but then like, oh no, it's kind of nice.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's that's one of those things where it's like there's the perfect decal for every scenario. You just have to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, then let's see. The last question I was saving here till the end, because I don't know what you're going to be the thoughts on it. But what are your thoughts on the MGEX line?
I think the EX stands for expensive.
Right,
honestly.
Of course.
If I hadn't already built,
you said is your favorite line to work with. So are you gonna get one or not?
If I hadn't already built like 3 different unicorn Gundams, I would think it's really cool. But I don't know. I'm pretty burnt out on unicorns right now. Future releases though.
Yeah.
I know like the whole gimmick with that is like focusing on one aspect of a mech,
Yeah.
I think it's like the style or something for the lighting.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'm planning on building it just because I want to check it out and review it, of course. But like just personally, I don't review kits that I'm not personally interested in anyway. So like I am interested in the kit. But I feel the same. I think a lot of people are going to be in the same boat as well too, that like they've built so many unicorn kits already. Like even though the kit, no matter how good the kit looks, it's going to be hard to get excited about building a kit it's just the same design that you've built multiple times already before.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the brand itself, so they're focusing on like certain things for each release is what it seems like to me. I'm hoping for a master grade Kshatriya, MGEX Kshatriya, because I know it's probably like really out there, but like, because I know their excuse for not making one was like they didn't have like the technology or the engineering to make it work.
But as far as I've heard, they said that the binders would be too heavy. They'd have to use metal parts in the binder connections.
I think this would be the perfect opportunity for that. Like
I don't know.
Trying new things with a 1/100 scale.
It's strange to me that that would be the reason why they wouldn't make that, because I'm sure it'd be a popular kit. And like, there's metal parts in the perfect grade Astray and Strike Gundams, so like they've put metal parts in kits before. It's not like something. I mean, it would be expensive, yeah, but I think like they've made expensive MGs before
it'd
too.
be better than shelling out the money for Alien Kshatriya, you know.
Yeah, especially now. I mean,
that's one of my holy grail kits. I want one so bad.
Well, if I ever decide to sell mine, I'll let you know.
Okay.
But I'm still holding out hope that someday I'm gonna finish building it.
But knowing my luck, if I ever buy that off of you, like a month later, Bandai's gonna announce the Master Grade Kshatriya.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Probably. All right. Well, anyway, I wanted to save that question for last because it's something that I think is a sort of hot topic at the moment. But we'll see. You know, it could come out, and you know, it's really amazing. You may end up changing your mind, and then you have to wait like 6 months for them to make another run of it to get your hands on one of them. But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, right now I'm trying to not buy or add anything else to my backlog. I'm trying to use this time to trim down all my backlog. But this resin Hainu bust is kicking my butt right now.
So. It happens. It's always the quick projects you think, oh, I'll just finish this in like a week or two, that end up taking like over a month.
Yeah, it's always easier said than done.
Yeah. Well, that is going to be it for us today. Khris, thank you again for taking the time.
Thank you.
And for those of you guys who want to check out more of Khris's work, if you're unfamiliar, if you are not following around on social media, once again, you have your Facebook page, Instagram page, anything else?
Nope, just those two. I'm on Reddit. Okay. I post every once in a while, but yeah, it's mostly Facebook. That's where I'm active. Yeah.
The links to those are in the video description, so you guys can check those out. You ever gonna make any YouTube videos or anything you're thinking about that?
I've been getting a lot of pressure from people wanting me to make a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm ready for that. Maybe in the future. I don't know.
I think at least for now, I think the guide that you made is cool. I think just, you know, making stuff like that, if that's fun for you, I think that kind of stuff is good too.
Yeah, that was a learning experience too. Like formatting like a PDF on its own, I learned a lot.
Yeah, layout and everything. It takes a while to get that figured out as well too, I know. But
yeah, I hope people find it useful or informative at least.
Definitely. Yeah, if you guys are interested, you know, no matter what your skill level, beginner or intermediate, whatever, I mean, I think it's really well done as well too. So check it out, guys. The link is on Khris's Facebook page. And any last words of motivation, inspiration, or anything you want to share with anyone, Khris?
Oh God, I'm not ready for that.
You already kind of did earlier a little bit, but I just it wasn't like the question at hand.
I don't want to be the guy that says gun plus freedom. But I mean, yeah, enjoy the hobby. You know, don't. It's supposed to be fun. You know, enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. I get what you mean too. I mean, that phrase has got a lot of mixed emotions around it, but I get what you mean, especially considering your work. You know, I think that's a good advice coming from you in the best possible way. Gun plus freedom. Just enjoy being creative, thinking, you know, outside the box a little bit with your work. And then even your more traditional or in the box work is really good as well too. So I always enjoy checking it out. Thanks for sharing, and always looking forward to your future projects. And those of you guys who are watching live, and even if you're seeing this later, but not too much later, just want to give you guys a heads up too. I'll be live again tonight on the USA Gundam TV channel with Adam, doing another live stream there with Adam. So if you guys want to ask questions to Adam about USA Gundam Store and their operations and all that's related stuff, check the different USA Gundam Store pages, Instagram, YouTube channel, Facebook page, where you can post your questions there. So that'll be later tonight, my time. If you're in the US, that'll be Friday morning for you guys. But until then, hope you're all having a good day. Khris, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Everyone, we'll see you later.